Forget sunset by the bay. We'll play under the lights tonight. Welcome to the USL Championship on ESPN. An hour and 54-minute delay. You know the weather has passed when Pete and Penny flock back to Aolang. With Ricky Lopez, Aspen, Mike Watts on hand, it is the Rowdies welcoming Indy 11. You know, Ricky, when you look at this Tampa Bay side, 50th year of existence, so much excitement. It's not chance creation that's the issue for them, is it?
Certainly not chance creation. The problem for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, as of late, they've done a better job at playing in between lines, which allows them to be more aggressive at getting themselves into the final third. The problem is the lack of composure and decision-making. Players need to step up and start producing because there's just too much talent on this roster to be at last in these categories.
They've got a long way to go, 7 points out, but they do have a game in hand just shy of the midway point of the season. Now, conversely, take a look at Indy 11. This is a group that scores plenty, but they're below the playoff line. Why?
For Sean McCauley, he's been actually very pleased with their performance and the growth that he's seen from his side in 2025. The only thing he wants to see them a little bit better is just dictating tempo and being more control in between lines, controlling the pace, dictating the tempo. But most importantly, Mike, B's side for Indy 11 need more production from their big-time players.
One win or a draw, and they are back above the playoff line. Two hugely ambitious clubs in the championship trying to get their season-defining moment as we approach the midway point of the campaign. It's a big Eastern Conference clash, and we have waited long enough. The delay is over. Lineups kick off. We come back to Aolang. It's the USL on ESPN. Without further ado, a look at the lineup for Tampa Bay Rowdies. Tonight, they've made just one change. Bassett goes to the bench.
That middle three will be everything for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Alvarez is going to have the freedom just to go and search the game. Hilton and Chrysostom need to be really good at understanding the balance. Hilton will be that single pivot, so more box-to-box from Chrysostom. But if that middle three can get on the ball, that allows that front two to be really aggressive and expansive, exactly what Steve Coleman wants from his attacking players.
And meanwhile, for Indy 11, they've made a bunch of changes. 5 because they've got a big cup game on the weekend.
But the talent never drops for Sean McCauley. Jack Blake will be everything. Go going forward for Indy 11. He can beat you 1v1. He can beat you through combination play. The forward line will go through Blake. Look for him to combine with Shiza and Foster that are very direct at stretching the back line for the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
There is Sean McCauley, a happy belated. We spoke to him on Monday and failed to note that it was, in fact, his 53rd birthday. Came up through the Manchester United Academy, was most recent an assistant at Minnesota United. It's his second year at the helm. Chris Olstemo gets the first touch, and finally we are underway. It is a delay of 1 hour and 54 minutes, but we're ready to go at Al Lang. Big one in the Eastern Conference. It's the championship on ESPN. Ball bounces down Van Kayazil and pinged away by Blake, creating a foot race with Chiza. We are in St. Petersburg. You can see the field was actually in pristine condition a couple hours ago, and then torrential rain began in the 6 o'clock hour. The field was cleared for the better part of 2 hours as lightning continued to strike within the radius of the stadium. They came out around 7:45, began to roll the field out to get the excess water out, and now finally here we are. What's it like in the locker room, Ricky, as a player where you think you're gonna play, they keep moving the clock every time a lightning bolt strikes within the region? As Van Kayazil spins back, it's offered by Alvarez. Ball flicks around and into the grasp of Sol. Well, you spend the whole time, I imagine, hoping you get service like that.
Just like this for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Fantastic recognition here from Alvarez as he just plays under Van Kayazil and hits it first time into a really dangerous area. There is contact, not enough to point to 12 yards out, but 2 minutes in, really good start for the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Were you the soccer, tennis kind of guy in the dressing room? What's it actually like?
There's people playing soccer, tennis. There's people playing cards. There's people who have headphones on their phone. More of the guy that just sits back into his locker and just stays to himself. But all of these players on the field understand how to deal with adversity and how to press the right buttons to get them ready. It's not easy when you go out for warm-ups or about to go out for warm-ups and start to think, okay, this is when I need to start to lock in. But then you have not an hour and a half delay. So now in between the ears will be everything for these sides.
You and I were just watching fresh episodes of Greenland.
Unreal pitches, huh?
I know. Backheel flick back inside, fell to Finn McRobb. Launched in over the top. It's the 20th all-time meeting between these two clubs, both of which have history prior to the championship. For Tampa Bay, it is 50 years of history as Bondre stretched out, knocked that ball away, but indeed it belongs to the Rowdies. It all began with soccer as a kick in the grass. They have had some of the biggest names on their roster playing in the sunshine, and in the championship, historically, remarkably strong club, which makes this year even more shocking blip on the radar, sitting bottom of the conference. Alvarez pushes it along. It's overcooked. Up into the air away from Arteaga. Hilton prodded along. McRobb fell to Arteaga. Pinballed around. McRobb stood up to it.
Just relentless pressure right now for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. All 10 outfield players in the attacking third to start this game.
O'Brien. Settled by Aiden Quinn. Third most assists in league history, most starts in league history, second most minutes in league history. Long diagonal, will that hang up? It won't. I imagine you come in with a game plan, you walk the field when you arrive, and all of a sudden the surface that you were on 3 hours ago is not the surface you're playing on anymore.
A lot softer, so now technical ability is going to be everything for this success.
Quinn, Foster, in from Rendon. Hits the diagonal. Naas cross blocked.
really important, Mike, for an attacking player. There is a shot on target. You have to have the ability to follow it up with any sort of rebounds here, but also you need to hit the ball a little bit stronger, especially with the puddle starting to form. Put a little bit extra weight in your passes.
And they may not look it, but the puddles were enormous, especially on the far side of the field. About an hour ago, and they did a wonderful job clearing a lot of that excess water off. This, a pretty drastic concern. Aaron Guillen appeared to get caught up awkwardly there.
It's awkward the way that this ball comes across. Guillen trying to get on the end of it as he just dives into the sideboard. What an important piece he is for the Tampa Bay Rowdies at his left center back position, the ability to work on both sides of the ball, real quality in the final third, and a leader at organizing his back line.
There's a point in time, him, Scarlett, Lasso were the trio that started some 50 straight games. They referred to that side of the field as Guillen Island. Bump into Summerall. Comes over to Aiden Quinn. Up from O'Brien. Down Foster. Marciaga picks his head up.
Central locations will be in the 11 in their success, especially with Aiden Quinn, Blake, more that relationship at the spaces that they pick up. Blake is going to have the freedom just to go and search the game to be a little bit more aggressive. And Aiden Quinn and Samora, they cannot get caught on the same plane on the same side of the field, because that's exactly what the Tampa Bay Rowdies want.
Foster blazing his way into the final third, muscling his way onto the end line. It's up above Chizza. Yes, it is the exact same guy who scored 12 goals a year ago in Pittsburgh. However, it so often occurs, a player goes off to college and they start to call you a certain name, and then by the time you're gone at Pitt, he's saying that is his name. He arrives at Indy, says, well, no, it's actually not Chizza, it's Chizza. Has been, will be.
Therefore, we say Chizza.
Indeed.
What a complete striker that he is in USL Championship. The ability to score and get on the end of service, but also very soft feet that he can bring in his teammates. So he's a big factor for Indy 11 in the attacking phase of the game.
Came over from Uganda 12 years ago at the age of 14 to Florida, and then eventually league collegiately featured for 3 years at Pitt before being a first-round pick to New England. There's a set piece here for Indy. You can be sure Chizza among the targets here for Indy 11. Blake plays it down the line. A lot of window dressing. Back to Blake. Should have that in the locker room.
Straight up the training ground here for Blake. Does a really nice job at just following up this ball into Marcus Foster. But as he just peels off, he just pulls off his shoulders. That's why he goes up and over the crossbar. But Blake is going to be the point of emphasis, especially with service from dead ball opportunities.
That's clever between Malik Foster and Jack Blake, but doesn't play out. Blake, 30 years old from England, did play for the Rowdies. Actually hosted a video series for the league, The Breakdown. Ball forward, header snap wide. Casillas. Where did they get the goals that Cal Jennings left behind when he went to Charleston? They want to see Casillas get more involved, him and a few of his teammates.
Really clever spacing here for Casillas just to play off the shoulder of O'Brien between him and Alfebu. Snap, header right over his right shoulder, unable to get on target, but tell you about the quality from PN
can see the look from Arteaga, who is a vicious goal scorer. Andre, the newcomer from Colorado.
Driven forward, this deflects off the hands and eventually held by Hunter Solt. Apologize for the audio difficulties there a moment ago. Inside 15 minutes in this much delayed and much ballyhooed Rowdies Indy 11 meeting here. It's the championship on ESPN. Just a moment ago, saw a ball smash off the crossbar. Best chance for the Rowdies to this point. And an injured player down for Indy 11. So the Indy staff will contemplate the injured player. But we take it back to the Rowdies' chance just a moment ago. Held up well by Arteaga, has the support of Guillen. Had tremendous service prior, and this time rattles it off the woodwork.
If you're Rendon, you need to close down that space. You cannot allow Guillen that much time and space just to pick up his head. Great strike, even better save from Solt to his near post to deny the Rowdies the opening goal here.
The guy in the stands, I just hope both teams have fun. That's good. Well, it was nearly a fun moment for the Rowdy faithful that stuck it out. This venue undergoing tremendous renovation over the offseason after struck by the hurricane that caused so much damage, notably in St. Pete to the Trop. Fans have flocked back out, but the results really haven't shown to this point. And I think one of the big takeaways, speaking with Steve Coleman, took over as the interim. Robbie Nielsen sacked at the beginning of April. We need to reconnect the team, as Ofemu's back up, to the club and to the community and to the culture of the Rowdies. He said it's the 50th anniversary of the club, and it had hardly been talked about within the group just what that meant.
In a conversation with Steve Coleman, one thing that really stuck out to me was how prideful he was to be the interim manager of the Tampa Bay Rowdies and what it means to the soccer pyramid here in United States, the ability to give back to the fans, not only on the field, but in the community as well, so that you get that in return, that support coming into Al Lang Stadium. It's one of, if not the most hostile environment. So how do you get back to that is a big talking point for Steve Coleman, and he wants his teams to be a little bit more possession-based, have the courage and bravery to play in between lines. And we've seen that over the last couple games, starting to pick up wins, 2 in their last 5 in all competitions.
And an injury for the Rowdies on the other end. It's been a real stop-start game. He did acknowledge, there's Steve Coleman, came in from Loudon over the offseason. For one, there's the security element, the excitement of being in the Rowdies organization. A little sunshine didn't hurt. Took the big leap over from the New Zealand Youth national team system. Penny acknowledges the fans. Said he was watching Rowdies games with George Best on Technicolor tape back in the day. Symbolic club to his love for football, and now here he is managing the side. Pretty awesome. Pasillas. Tremendous effort to retain from Alvarez. Was acquired at the beginning of June, the largest transfer fee ever paid from a championship club to a League One club. And a free kick conceded by Josh O'Brien.
Pasillas has done a really good job through the early parts of this game at just holding off Indy 11's back players, the ability to slow the game down and also allowing his teammates underneath him to support him. 2 physical strikers to play into, Arteaga, Pasillas. They've done a nice job of just really testing the back line of Indy 11.
Lewis Hilton has dealt with injury throughout this season, but few greater marksmen on set pieces in the championship. Lofted into the area, Pasillas nods it back, rolled over, Alvarez chips it back over, Pasillas and out.
Really good box defending in the end from Indy 11 to win the initial ball, but quickly step off of their line to not allow Alvarez just to drop it in behind the back line. So if you're Sean McCall, you have to be really pleased with that action defensively from your side.
Alvarez has questions. Arteaga too. Solt's gonna hoof this away. Hunter Solt, acquired on loan last year from Portland, ultimately decided to bring him back. He had just 29 appearances in the pro game from 2018 to 2023. He started 27 games last year, so nearly doubled that output at such a vital time for a goalkeeper. He signed so young, he's only 23 years old. That means he might just now begin entering his prime.
Seems like Solt's been around for a lot longer as well, with the amount of experience that he's had for Indy 11, how good he's been as well. What about the shot-stopping ability, but also the ability to organize the players in front of him, a true leader between the sticks.
McRobb. Ofemu. There's the aforementioned Solt.
Both teams are just struggling right now just to have a pocket presence in between lines. As Indy 11's trying to build up, it just seems like Chizza and Foster are just in an island. No one plays in between the lines, and the same can go for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So if you are Steve Coleman, you need Alvarez to come a little bit more central to play underneath Macias and Arteaga.
Oh, well, that left a lot to be desired. Rendon putting that in a fairly dangerous spot. Ultimately, the Rowdies don't get the touch they need, but will accept the corner on its behalf.
Great ball over the top from Wyken. Just watch the anticipation here from Bodley. He sees Rendon just going to play it back into Salt. Far too casual from the wing back and nearly gets there. The Tampa Bay Rowdies outside winger. You just see the disbelief on his face.
It'll be a corner for Lewis Hilton. Hilton whisked out to the halfway line. Van Kayazeel hammers it forward out of the reach of Castellanos. The USL on the CBS Sports Network continues. First week in July, 3 hot championship matchups. It's Birmingham Legion taking on Charleston Battery, 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, July 2nd. Then last year's champs, Colorado Springs, welcome the Shield winner, Louisville City, Friday, July 4th, 9 p.m. Eastern. A lot of fireworks there, and then the Battery will battle it out with North Carolina FC, Sunday, July 6th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Catch all the action on CBS Sports Network. Well, the Switchbacks off to a similarly solid start, and then you've got Louisville City blowing away most of the competition. Big win for them earlier tonight at Loudoun. 100-degree temperatures in the D.C. area didn't seem to bother them.
4-1 on the road for Danny Cruz, and company taking down on United, who has done a really good job under Ryan Martin in 2025, surprising a lot of people with how good they've been to start the season.
North Carolina just knocked Louisville out of the ranks of the league unbeaten. The last one without a loss. It had been 19 regular season games for Louisville City. Sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game, North Carolina.
2 goals off set pieces. John Bradford has to be really pleased with what he's seen from his side.
Well, unfortunately for Loudoun, Louisville took out the brunt of their frustration. Past the midway point in the first half. Game delayed by an hour and 54 minutes due to lightning in the St. Petersburg area.
Just too predictable right now for Indy 11. No avenues to play in between lines, especially when this back three gets on the ball. I just want you to watch the movement of Blake. He's coming too deep, and him and Aiden Quinn are just occupying that same pocket of space.
They stagger up here defensively to provide at least nominal pressure on the Rowdies. Blake's going to go here. Wyke is unperturbed.
And it's similar for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, the right side of your screen. Alvarez just playing off the shoulder of Quinn and Samora. So if you can get him on the ball, the whole game will start to open up. It's for the Rowdies. But again, just too pedestrian-like for both sides to start this game. Really sloppy in terms of their possession and building out.
Ball into Foster. Flutters back to McRobb. I think both coaches agreed with your assessment. This game was going to be won in the midfield. And if that spacing isn't right, it might just be a stalemate.
That's why we start to see all these long balls after long ball for Indy 11. No one to play in between lines. And the Tampa Bay Rowdies, they've done a better job at just playing into the feet of Arteaga. But again, massive space underneath your two attacking players.
That's wonderful work from McRobb. He's on the receiving end now. Chipping around the edge. Breneas into the area. Breneas, that's a seeing eye ball, sneaks out the other side. Rem Samoro couldn't combine. Maybe it's on here for the Rowdies. Casillas couldn't handle that extra pass. In behind for Chiza.
Better understanding between the front two of Indy 11 as Foster comes to feet. He draws out Guillen, so that allows Chiza to be really direct off the shoulder of the aggressive center back. That's exactly what you need in terms of the movement when you're playing with two strikers.
That is Samoro, who's down. Came in from York United in the Canadian Premier League over the offseason. 28-year-old Liberian international, signed in September after being released a month prior to that in Canada. And it may come with the first change. Now, Indy doesn't have the longest roster available to them to begin with.
For the safety of the players, the referee has indicated that a cooling break will commence.
Mario Williams, notably out with the Jamaican national team for the Gold Cup as well. You know, you might think just because we evaded the sunshine that we similarly would evade hydration breaks. That is not the case. 77 degrees, but the humidity is a muggy 87%.
Hydration is needed, Mike.
So Sean McCauley talks it over with his Indy 11 team. Conversely, this Tampa Bay side right now, only 2 wins to their name. They make a change in coach. Robbie Nielsen out. Steve Coleman comes in. And the Rowdies trying to find their way back toward potential playoff consideration. You think about it, it was much shorter season, much smaller table in 2011 when Pittsburgh started with 2 wins through 13 but got into the postseason. You covered these Roots teams extensively when they managed to do it. They also had to change managers to get to that
They got
point.
that new manager bump for the Oakham Roots, and we're starting to see something very similar for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. What Steve Coleman has been able to do as of late, they've been more confident on the ball, more patient at building in between lines, which ultimately allows them to be more aggressive at getting forward and can score goals. And as you score goals, you continue to make that playoff push.
Well, they've only scored first on occasions made to this point. Well, here comes the change. It is Murphy on, Samoro out. Here to pick up a knock right before that hydration break. Not going to lose anything here. James Murphy's started to this point all 12 games. Ball lofted across. Appeal for a handball, blasted toward frame, deflects down, ranging over to knock it aside, Bondre. And Chiza denied.
Great aggressive action here from Indy 11. Just notice the numbers into the final third. It starts with a really clever ball in from Foster. And as this ball pops out, I just want you to watch the shoulders of Aiden Quinn as he approaches it. Head down, Andre comes across and just denies Chiza at the doorstep. But what an opportunity this is for Edward Chiza to get his 3rd on the season. Good save for the Rowdies goalkeeper.
And as good a save as it was, it proves unnecessary. The flag had gone up. And in behind, Casillas trying to run this down. As Arteaga joining, Casillas curled it right at Solt.
Just need a secondary movement here from Manuel Arteaga. Casillas slows himself down which allows Arteaga to come to feet, but you need him to pull away to open up a passing lane. Easy save in the end from Solt.
And another player down. That's Ofemu. Ofemu had gone down about 15 minutes ago. Solt's gone to check on him. And based on that reaction, you do wonder if Indy is going to be forced into making a second change in the first half. Now, if they did have to adjust, Patrick Hogan is on the bench. James Musa, dealing with a knock, is available tonight. But it becomes really thin really quick. There's the traveling Brickyard Battalion. Look down the bench. Cam Lindley up and about. Take a look here. There's Ofemu on the left. You can see grabs right at that left quad.
It just pulls up, unable to close down this space. And he feels it immediately. It does seem like it will be Patrick Hogan, a like-for-like sub for Sean McCauley. Patrick Hogan, very good 1v1 defender, dominant in the air. Big challenge for him just to get up to tempo, especially with the stop and start nature of this game and the warm-ups.
And Indy just had to burn their second sub window here in the first half in about a 5-minute stretch. And Patrick Hogan is about to make his 100th USL Championship appearance. 27 years old, from Charlotte, North Carolina, from a 2023 combine to a trial to signing in Pittsburgh after 2 years in Charleston. He was the Conference USA Defender of the Year. UNC Charlotte said pro soccer was a dream, and the coaches who had him early on spoke about just outstanding training habits, developing his game into a championship caliber player. He has certainly done that. Congratulations to the new Centurion.
Fantastic achievement for Patrick Hogan. He's going to slot right between McRobb and O'Brien. Ability to break through lines as well. Very comfortable on the ball. A big signing for Indy 11 in the offseason.
That's Hogan. He's in the game now.
Aggressive. Step off his line. Patrick Hogan has the freedom to be a front foot defender.
Ball put back in play. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN. It's the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Oakland Roots facing off with Detroit City July 5th, 10 p.m. Eastern. You can go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
First time that we see Blake playing off the shoulder of Bodley, who gets caught out of position. Now he tries to recover. So if you can find Blake in between lines, now you can find success and allow Chizza and Foster to be very direct and stretch his back line of the Rowdies.
And Bodley gets up and down as much as any wingback in the league. This, it is Murphy. Screaming up and out.
Good recognition here from Reneas just to beat his individual marker and draw in one of the three center backs for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Allows Murphy to take his first touch out of his body and hit it well. Lawrence White doing a good job at just closing down that space and not allowing a shot on target.
There is Blake. Drives the cross, it's up over Hogan. Looking for Foster, motored into the area. Solstimo sends it away. Snap back toward Hilton. Solstimo got tied up with Murphy. And let's be honest here for Indy. So within the game, the sub windows are certainly not just a nuisance. It's going to be tactically inhibiting for Sean McCauley moving forward. Then you consider what's coming up on the weekend, the first edition of the expanded Jägermeister Cup. You've got a matchup with Birmingham on the weekend if you're Indy. The winner of that matchup, if it comes in regulation, will win the group and advance on to the quarterfinals of that competition. So if you look at Indy, they made 5 changes thinking let's be ready to go for the weekend. And you just had to throw Murphy and Hogan into this game and lost all that subsequent depth potentially in 4 days' time.
The emphasis for Sean McCauley has to be you need to get on the ball, you need to dictate tempo and let the Rowdies start to expend their energy and let them chase around.
Yeah, suddenly every meter counts double, doesn't it? Hilton spins this over, punched away by Solt, fell to Van Kayazeel. Bodily. Hilton was there to provide much deeper service. Instead, they'll launch this up for Arteaga. Wyke circles back. Wyke hangs this up. Solt undercut by his own teammate Hogan, but does hold on. Turns out Hogan and Solt both knew best.
Good goalkeeping here from Solt just to command his 6-yard box, and even better recognition here for Indy 11.
And Indy recognizing that Tampa Bay is running on a soft field in soupy air. Tried to get that upfield as quickly as they could, but they're stemmed off.
When I say you need to keep possession of the ball just to dictate tempo, you have to find the right amount of balance of doing that, but not getting complacent and not getting sloppy. If you're Sean McCauley playing from east to west, making the Rowdies shift, and when those gaps start to open up, that's when you need to start to play quickly and penetrate in between lines.
Chizza the target. To be fair, the next person to describe Indy as offensively complacent will be the first. The last team in the league to be shut out this season with its 1-0 loss to Vegas. Ball cut across. There's contact, but not the kind of contact that draws a whistle on Jack Blake. Got stood up. And Pasillas got out in front of Aiden Quinn. Alvarez. Arteaga forgot something, back for Alvarez. Played square. Ball hit across. Away by Finn McRobb. Still on here for the Rowdies. Leading touch, pitchfork through. Arteaga would have been offside.
Just a bit too slow for the Tampa Rowdies first. There's only 2 players to play into Pasillas and Arteaga inside the 18-yard box, but when this ball pops out, you just need to be quicker. First touch out of your body, try to combine with a teammate, and that's exactly what Steve Coleman wants from his players. We need to be quicker, we need to be braver at taking chances, especially in the final third.
Both sides are reaching for their heads. McRobb continues, but an injured Rowdy behind. It's Hilton. It's Hilton. In the shadow of a hotel that is very much not his namesake. Hilton guides it wide, and Alvarez is still down after making head-to-head contact with McRobb in the buildup.
The engine, essentially, for the Rowdies. Lewis Hilton can do a little bit of everything on both sides of the ball. Technical ability to spray the ball wide, but also the will to continue to push the tempo here. Good recognition to come centrally, pulls it wide, but as it's head-to-head contact, this needs to be whistled immediately from Jeremy Shear.
Alvarez, Young Player of the Year in League One
Get ready for an electrifying Rowdies experience.
last year
We create custom group outings for
at
10
Charlotte
more people,
Independence.
making your event
All the
unique,
while
fun,
Hilton
and unforgettable. Enjoy premium
is vital,
seating,
a
VIP
midfield
treatment,
piece,
and exclusive game
so you can
day
anticipate.
experiences.
You
Want to
know
learn
it's
more?
steamy when you've got
Contact your
the
ticket
coaching
representative
staff
to plan
jumping
your
for
customized
Pedialyte.
Rowdies experience at 727-222-2000 or
Kalen
email
Kyle
tickets
was
at
the first person to ever refer to mustard packets. Did you have an anti-cramping mechanism?
Just the banana and salt.
Okay.
No mustard, not a mustard fan. You?
It never was an issue.
But mustard fan at all?
Yeah, on a sandwich.
Okay. Not to deal with cramping.
I don't know what they're teaching up in Canada, but whistle did go there. "40 minutes gone. It has been a stop-start kind of game, and it really felt that way hours before. The field was tarped up during the day. They lifted it off to allow the teams to prepare to come out and warm up. Then the rains came. The lightning followed, caused a nearly 2-hour delay. McRobb losing territory.
And it's a very similar issue for both of these sides, especially once you want to get into the attacking phase of the game. It's a perfect picture right now. You have Chizza and Foster just on an island versus that whole back five of the Tampa Bay Rowdies. If you are Steve Coleman and Sean McCauley, a point of emphasis, especially at halftime, will be you just need someone to play centrally. Just put a body there. What that will do, that will pull out and just decongest that central location. So now you have more space to pick apart, but also it gives you a player that you can just play into. It's just too predictable for both of these sides through the first 42 minutes.
If you're Indy, do you want to have one or the other drop in? Do you want to see them extend behind open?
That you can play into.
And that was Foster taking it to feet and then chipping it ahead to Chizza. Trying to lace that across, Rendon.
This is what you want to do when you have two players. You never want to play on the same plane. Whether someone comes to feet, someone runs in behind, because that just causes a little bit of chaos and confusion within the defensive set that you're playing against.
Rendon. Not to be. Did you know that Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship? From the Academy to the big leagues, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com. The latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. It'll be Bondre kicking this away. It's a shove from Chizza. A little surprised that proves to be the first card of the game. I don't think Wyke is all that surprised, but
it's just pure frustration here from Chizza. Not getting enough of the ball. 7 touches in the first 44 minutes. Not good enough for an attacking player. 2 goals, 1 assist on the season. No need to come through the back here of Wyke. The ball's gone. Knows exactly what he's doing. Leaves a little bit extra with his left leg.
Chizza's second yellow of the season, and Hilton laid that right into the path of James Murphy.
Great ball.
Dissecting a couple of lines. Blake through, and chasing this down. Reneus. Denied by Bondre. Still it's on, chipped through. Chizza was targeted. That's as good a chance as Indy's had all night.
And it's the first time that we see a player of Blake in between lines, which allows Bernays to be really expansive and very aggressive. Once you get into the attacking 18-yard box, you just need to pick out a corner, have a little bit more composure, and that's exactly what Sean McCauley said last time they didn't do against Las Vegas Lights. They had chances, but need to be a little bit more clinical in the final third.
Well, Indy definitely senses the tides have turned a bit at the end of the half. Forced into 2 substitutions due to injury. That pitchforked out. Those two injuries mean we'll have a pretty large amount of stoppage time. We enter into 6 minutes of Tiger Balm stoppage time. Alvarez just off the mark. Tossed in by McRobb. Dashing upfield, Rendon. Into Guillen. Still on here for Indy. Quinn. Slides down to help retain. Came through Blake. Driving, firing! Oh! Malik Foster! That is a screamer for Indy 11. Has turned the game totally on its head. Unreal goal from Malik Foster. Wow. The Brickyard Battalion loves it. Indy's gone on the road and stunned the Rowdies in first half stoppage.
Over the last 5 minutes, we start to see Indy 11 getting in a little bit of a rhythm, but it starts with the mentality to get numbers forward. And notice the way that he just shifts this ball essentially to his left foot. Lewis Hilton really slow to step out, and the technical ability here from Foster, exquisite. Head down, laces through this ball right into that top corner. No chance
Indy goal scored in first half
for the goalkeeper. Right before halftime, Indy 11 in the lead.
Wow. He's got that in him, you know it. Actually has a great goal scoring record in limited time with the Jamaican national team, Malik Foster. And what a hit to put Indy ahead. You felt it start to turn a little bit, maybe 40th minute in Indy's favor. And this is now the 9th time that they've gone ahead the opening goal. And from this, they've gained 13 of their 14 points this year. Here is Foster. Reneas, McRobb. Rather than let that play out, there's an injured player grabbing, that's bodily, at his head. A yellow card shown, apparently to Rendon. Trying to see what happened off the ball here. Take a look at this at the top of your screen. The two players racing down the touchline.
And just the left arm extended away from Rendon, knows exactly what he's doing. Catches bodily straight in the face. Whenever you extend your arm, especially at the head area, you're gonna run yourself the risk and deserving of a yellow card. Good pick out from Jeremy Shear and our referees here.
He's got the fourth official basically, 15 yards away from that, and the AR as well. That's likely something that came from the entire group coming together.
Just no need from Rendon there, especially with the work rate and the attacking opportunity that was for Indy 11 going forward.
Blake working off Foster, who you know can shoot from here. Pumps it opposite side, Rendon. Blake from Murphy, on to Quinn. Scored the goal of the year in 2015, a free kick for Louisville against Tulsa. Back heel from Foster. And clipped by Rendon.
Just get a different sense of confidence going forward for Indy 11, the fluidity, the freedom, especially with that attacking trio as Blake's being more aggressive underneath Chizza and Foster, causing some issues for the Tampa Bay Rowdy and who's going to step, who's going to drop. You need Lewis Hilton to be that single pivot just to put out some fires right in front of the back three, because right now, acres of space for Indy 11 to operate in. And yet again, Jack Blake here.
Just got flipped like an omelet. And now the Rowdies in transition, bypassing Murphy. Ahead for Arteaga. Races by Jeremy Shear, the referee, and out to Foster. McRobb. We did have the yellow card and the goal in stoppage. Is there any time remaining? Indy best get forward. Quinn, McRobb. Yeah, that's halftime. Well, Indy scores a scorcher right before halftime. They head into the locker room with the advantage.
Just no real rhythm to this game for Sean McCullough. You have to be pleased with how you ended that first half. Players taking the opportunity to express themselves. Can you continue that momentum? But for Steve Coleman and Tampa Bay Rowdy, you just need a little bit more bite in that final third. More tenacious and that ruthlessness to really put Soul under some pressure. Big 45 minutes coming up for both of these sides.
Stunner of a goal from Foster, and Indy ahead at halftime. We waited nearly 2 additional hours to kick this one off, and the goal that we got was worth the wait. Two sides frustrated by the campaign. It's Indy ahead at the half. A look at news and notes and more Pete when we come back. It is the USL Championship on ESPN. Indy 11 and Tampa Bay Rowdies properly imbibed on this Wednesday night. Indy with the lead. Come on into the booth, disembodied no longer, with Ricky Lopez-Espin, Mike Watts on hand. And, well, you know, you and I have watched this league through the first half of the season. Some might be new to this occasion. We've seen these two teams struggle. Not a surprise that we've seen Louisville be great, but streaks are meant to be broken, right?
How good has Lou City been up until this point, with Danny Cruz been able to press all the right buttons? It starts with their pressure just to make their opposition so uncomfortable, but yet North Carolina got the best of them 2 weeks ago. John Bradford needs to be really pleased with that performance at home.
Yeah, let's take a look at our news and notes presented by Tiger Balm. Indeed, Louisville City goes down for the first time in 19 regular season games. Meanwhile, Sebastian Saucedo, really exciting young prospect, makes his way back to the States from FC Juarez. And then two Kellys coming in. Stephen Kelly goes to Orange County. Jeremy Kelly just signed in Charleston. So we're seeing some of the early transfer window news come about. Let's talk about that Lou City, North Carolina game a little bit deeper, though, Ricky, because we mentioned in the first half, North Carolina, they're gritty and they will score on set pieces.
The ability to put in a dangerous set piece, and then you have Sundstrom, the young teenager, get in between both Lou City players. A terrific header, no chance for Damian Loss, and then Philip Goodrum. What a week he had. Scored a hat trick the game before this. Gets on the end of it. He ties this game 1-1. But for Danny Cruz, you need to be really frustrated. The inability to defend set pieces, good ball in, and even better in the end from Luckhurst to snap it across his left shoulder and ultimately give North Carolina a big 3 points at home.
Well, Lou City got a 4-1 win tonight against Loud, so back on the horse. But what could have been is they chased the all-time league record regular season unbeaten streak. They fall one game short of Richmond and Phoenix. Those were 20 straight wins. The Kickers did it in 2013, but still, it's going to be FC Cincinnati, which makes it hurt just that little bit extra for Lou City.
For Danny Cruz, yes, the records are fantastic, but that is not the end game for Lou City. They want to be playing the last day of the season in USL Championship.
Somewhere GB is popping a champagne cork like, hey, still got the record. Meanwhile, Malik Foster, this isn't about records. This is a scorcher. Got your full first half highlights coming up next here on ESPN. scenic St. Pete on a Wednesday night. It is 1-0 Indy 11 over Tampa Bay at the half. Come back into the booth, everyone. Joined by Ricky Lopez, Espen, Mike Watts on hand. And all I can say is we waited 2 hours for that, and it just felt a little weird, didn't it?
Just no real rhythm to the game, no real warm-up for these teams, so that's what you expected. But we talked about that midfield battle. There was no midfield in that game. It was all direct balls. It was winning individual duels, but yet we were treated to a fantastic goal from Foster, and that is the difference as we walk into halftime.
How about we show you an assortment of first half highlights? We almost had an incredible goal from Aaron Guillen, too.
And it starts with the hold-up play from Pasillas to allow Guillen to come a little bit central. First touch out of his body, and he has a wonder strike right through the laces of this ball. No chance for a defender to close down the space, forcing a really good save of Solt to push it off his crossbar.
Skip ahead to the 29th minute of play, and it's on the other end that Indy 11 started to find themselves, and it would really be about 15 minutes of consistent pressure.
More about the mentality for Indy 11. That's what changed midway through that first half. Aiden Quinn comes out, laces through this ball. How many times have we seen him score goals from that distance? Mendry coming across and denying Chisholm was ultimately offside, but this is just individual brilliance from a player that is spectacular. The aggressive nature to get numbers higher up the field yet again, but notice how quickly Foster gets his shot off, pulls it to his left-hand side, and just no backlift whatsoever. No chance for the goalkeeper, Indy 11 in the lead.
That is a stinger from Malik Foster, and his second goal of the season comes in first half stoppage. Here's the first half stats, and it tells basically the story it felt like, stalemate.
50-50 in terms of the possession for Sean McCauley. Will be very surprised or expect them to slow the game down and just have the ball to circulate, so their possession might rise a little bit for Tampa Bay Rowdies. You just need to be ruthless and cause chaos high up the field.
Well, it takes special to beat Tampa Bay in St. Pete. These Rowdy fans have not seen Indy win at Al Lang since 2016. That could change here tonight. Indy leads at the half. Second 45 after this. USL Championship on ESPN. It is on this Wednesday night, Indy 11 and Tampa Bay Rowdies. The fans have weathered quite the storm. We play under the lights alongside Tampa Bay. Indy 11 with the advantage. A remarkable goal from Malik Foster in first half stoppage time. On to the second half we go. Notably for Indy, they had to make 2 subs in the first half in 2 separate windows due to injury. They do not make any changes here at halftime. So if they are going to make changes from here, they'd need to potentially use all 3 at once moving forward, and Foster just got pounded. And the injury woes continue for Indy 11.
Really difficult challenge here from Foster and Bodily. No foul whatsoever, but really hard contact. Hopefully, Malik Foster is okay to continue on. The last thing Sean McCauley needs when coming right after the halftime was to need to dip into his bench yet again.
It would be the last time he could dip into his bench, barring a potential head injury. And you've got a ton of depth in the position. You can shift some players around. You could have Chisholm play wide, bring in Amo. You could bring in Collier. But in reality, you'd really like to see Malik Foster pop up here and be able to continue in this game. Foster came in from Colorado Springs in August last year. Just a goal in 12 games. His 12th game this year, and his second goal is far and away his best.
What a fantastic strike from Malik Foster. The kiss off the far post, but how quickly he just gets it off. No chance for Lewis Hilton to come across and close down the space. If we take a look at the Indy 11 bench, you mentioned Amo. We talked about Elliot Collier, 2 players that can come in and can shift things around in that top line for Sean McCauley in Indy 11. Really important moments right here as we see Malik Foster walking up on his own power. So a sigh of relief for Sean McCauley in Indy 11.
And so the injury issues and international duty, for that matter, continue to pile up here for Indy 11. Musa's available, but dealing with a knock himself. They made 5 changes coming into the night. They've been without Aiden Stanley due to injury. Mario Williams is away. And they've got just an enormous game coming up on the weekend in the Jägermeister Cup against Birmingham that very well could decide that group. One of the few groups that can be done and dusted after just 3 match days. Hilton took a push, able to retain, plays it long to Solt.
4 minutes into this second half already, the positioning of Alvarez a little bit more aggressive, playing underneath Macias and Arteaga, exactly what you and I were continuing to talk about through that first 45 minutes. Tampa Bay Rowdies just needed a pocket presence. So if you can play into Alvarez now, that allows your 2 strikers to really run in behind and pin back in the 11's defensive unit.
Like ahead, Hilton. Wires were crossed, that runs out.
Just notice how aggressive Murphy and Aiden Quinn are being. Once Tampa Bay is building out of the back, they're taking out Crisostomo and Lewis Hilton out of the game. So if you are one of the 3 center backs of the Rowdies, you have to be brave enough to bypass that initial line of pressure and play into a higher line.
Fankay Azil. Macias, now Hilton, lobs it ahead. Tap down, support wide, Bodily. Instead, he'll float it up, Macias. Thumbs up from Solt, defending Indy's 1-0 lead. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site. SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Chiza navigates wide in toward Blake, flicked at by Castellanos. Casillas.
Good recovery there from Aiden Quinn. They said put out that fire.
Return to Quinn, into Blake. Blake muscles that in, dealt with by Bondre.
A little pocket of space here from Blake just to play off the shoulder of Murphy. Better in terms of being connected within Aiden Quinn. And Murphy, good strike in the end, easy save from Bondre.
Guillen. Offers the cross. That'll be a corner. Maybe a little more space than Hogan knew.
It's not the third time that we've seen Guillen be really aggressive from her center back position. Just an overload with him and Bodily, both left footers, so naturally want to provide the width for Steve Coleman.
When you lose Cal Jennings, who's running the Golden Boot race right now from his new Charleston, well, Arteaga could be that guy, and Casillas has had moments. Means other guys like Guillen getting forward can help orchestrate more. We've been looking for that. Hilton, header from the backside. That is a penalty. That is a push in the back on Arteaga. And Tampa Bay is going to the spot with a chance to equalize. So Hilton's service hits the backside. It is an errant challenge from Indy 11.
Quality service from Lewis Hilton. It's not the initial ball, it's the secondary ball that can really cause some issues for the teams. Blake, it just gets caught on the wrong side of Manuel Arteaga. Pull the jersey, it's a clear foul. Good pick out from Jeremy Shear. To 12 yards out we go as Arteaga stands over it.
Hunter Solt is a big dude. 6'7". Arteaga is ready with a chance to pull the Rowdies level. Arteaga above the bar.
Just right side of your screen, I just want you to watch the movement and the contact from Blake. Handful the jersey, but also watch the shoulders of Arteaga once he approaches it. Just too casual. Slow run up, so you have to get your balance spot on. As he approaches this ball, his head goes back and so do his shoulders. Gets underneath it, and that's why it goes up and over the crossbar.
And if that doesn't tell quite the story, his last make was actually against Hunter Solt in October in a 3-0 Rowdy win. And in a moment where everything feels topsy-turvy, he misses just his third in 18 pro tries. And Indy retains their advantage. There is a collision in the midfield. Chiza peels himself up, and still an injured Rowdy. And Guillen is back up now as well. With a thumbs up, says he's okay. This is not a night for the kick cleaners.
For the trainers as well. How many players have we seen go down? Whether it is due to cramping, really hard collisions between these two teams.
Arteaga went 7 for 7 last year from the penalty spot, by the way. Finished with 18 goals. not to be there, and now Indy will try and add to their lead 10 minutes into the half. Guillen got shown a yellow card for that collision. Castellanos made first contact. Well, this is a vital moment for the Rowdies. How do you handle those moments where it's gone awry? Of late, one goal tends to be followed by another. Halftime perhaps preventing that outcome. Now you've failed to convert a penalty that could have brought you level. Foster, Andre came diving out. It's chested over the line defensively.
A little bit of the glimpse of how explosive Malik Foster can be. Crisostomo comes too tight to him, so he's beat by his pace. Good recognition from Guillen to come across, but not leave his feet as well. Already on a yellow card, just cutting down the angle. That's when you need Andre to have a little bit more communication between him and Lewis Hilton.
Blake. That header steered off the mark. It's worth noting Manuel Arteaga just hit the 50-goal plateau in the 2-1 defeat at Pittsburgh for the Rowdies. And the players that are above him, pretty huge names. Lancaster, Jennings, former Rowdy. Williams, the current Indy player away on international duty. Goodrum, Lopez, and then Manuel Arteaga.
What we've seen from Manuel Arteaga over his career, he's just a ruthless and clinical finisher. Right foot, left foot, a box number 9, meaning he needs service into him. He's not going to run by you. The ability to stretch the game. He wants the ball to feet, and he's so clever within his movement in around that 18-yard box. Loves to play off the blind side, and his timing is impeccable.
Part of Phoenix's championship team in 2023. Going to work a give and go. That didn't play. Arteaga was coming off the bench at the tail end of that season. Ultimately, Phoenix overcoming Charleston with Arteaga scoring the winning penalty in the shootout. Macias, Caribs high. Crisostomo didn't like the look. It's Hilton. Indy looking for just their 4th win against the Rowdies. This their 20th meeting, and the first since 2018. Driving Bodily, cuts over Arteaga, back over Bodily! His first of the season comes in a vital moment for Tampa Bay. And it is just the response the Rowdies were looking for. It's 1-1.
Deserving here from Blake Bodily. As he provides a width here, I just want you to watch his movement when he plays this ball into Macias. Knows exactly what he wants, and he wants it back. Outruns not 1, not 2, but 3 Indy 11 midfielders just to create this attacking unit. Fortunate bounce as McRobb comes across, but you still have a lot left to do for Bodily. Composed to open up his hips and simply just slot it into that far post. Nothing That's all can do. Great response from the Rowdies.
The wide linchpin to some really good San Diego teams over the years. I had a coach once tell me Bodley will run 1,200 high-speed meters in a game. Those numbers are nuts. And of course, tremendous finish. Ralph's mob finally able to uncork the smoke at home. That is exactly the response they needed. The worst conversion rate in the league. They've created enough, they haven't scored enough. Tied for 22nd for fewest goals. We're level now.
If you're Sean McCauley, you're going to beamly track back and stay with Bodley. You need more from that instance from Murphy, from Quinn, and from Blake just to put a body on him. You should never allow a wingback to outrun your whole midfield line.
Out over Guillen. Foster bodied off by Guillen.
Nice pocket here.
Quinn chooses not to go it alone. Now he'll send the service. Diving header up and away. Van Kayazil. Still it's Quinn. Helping out by Robert Castellanos. And now the run out might be on for the Rowdies. Alvarez. Woo! Leaves Murphy in the dust. Lofts it over. Hit off what has proven to be a bit of a dead spot on the pitch with all the rain we got earlier. Pasillas trying to hold up. And the Rowdies maintain possession, the cusp of the attacking third.
What about that little bit of skill from Alvarez essentially to send Murphy packing? Bit of magic from the young man.
There's Alvarez again. And we hear this a lot about players that are taking the step up, right? So you see Luis Alvarez come up from League One, Young Player of the Year, now 22 years old, into the championship. They pay the intra-league transfer record to bring him in back on June the 6th. Had 5 goals, 3 assists in all comps for Charlotte Independence before making the move. But now can you do it consistently at this level? Pasillas flicking back to Van Kayazil. And you were a young player who's sort of gone up and down from different leagues. It is a different level.
Physicality is a big part of what we see from Championship versus League One. The big center backs are not scared just to put a body on you and just bump you off. So now you need to be a lot smarter in the spaces that you pick up, but also need to be quicker at your feet and your decision making in between the lines. That's going to be the next step in the progression for Alvarez, because he has every single tool in the box. The ability to beat you 1v1, can combine. Steve Coleman said he saw a lot of similarities between him and Abukor for Loudoun United.
Yeah.
So can you continue finding that end product and be quicker? That's going to be a really important piece in terms of his development.
Great work from Pasillas. Arteaga. That is Bodley forward again. Bodley blazing, crossing. The letdown at the end.
What the Rowdies are doing better over the last 10 minutes here, they're just playing a little bit more direct, but they also have a secondary option to win second balls, which just opens up the field, because if you do have the ability to regain possession, now you're facing the attacking goal, and the responsibility is on other players to be really direct and expansive.
1-1 in the 65th minute. Tonight's game airing on SiriusXM FC as well. If you can't watch the match, you can turn on SiriusXM FC 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus live matches in the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SiriusXM app. Sean McCauley was the guest this week. I had a chance to talk to him. This Indy 11 team is several minutes into stoppage time. They are pressing for the goal at home. It's 0-0 against a down on their luck Las Vegas side that have started to find themselves since a coaching change a couple weeks ago to get out over the line. And I asked him, they end up getting beat on a counter. They are 20 yards from goal. Everyone's forward. He goes, I'm a fan of the game. At 0-0, and you can see the referee has looked back and seen some pushing and shoving behind the ball. That was Foster, who ended up over the line and then grasps onto the ball, and then what happens next?
Ilhar Donbai thinks he gets fouled here from Alvarez, and I agree with him. But the frustration, and just see, throws the ball on the field, trying to stop play. Picks up a yellow, deservingly so for Malik Foster.
Point made. Let's go back to his manager for a moment, right? He goes, as a fan of the game, if it's 0-0, we're at home, and we're trying to have that turning point moment to our season. Because I'd be more angry if we left 0-0 and we didn't go for it than if we end up losing the game 1-0 because we did.
This tells you about the mentality for Sean McCauley, just wanting to put on a show for the fans that continue to support Indy 11, but also mentally for his side, saying that we are never going to take our foot off the gas till the end of the whistle. We're going to continue to try to score goals and play attacking style of soccer.
I laughed with him, said 5 draws have to drive you nuts, because he is not that type. Came up through the Manchester United Academy. It was Sir Alex Ferguson that instilled the idea in him that go for the second goal. Always go for the second goal.
Put the pressure on their opposition.
No doubt. Murphy. Bodies all over the floor. Arteaga with his arms extended, and the hold-up play got whacked. That's a yellow card to Hogan, who came on as a substitute due to the injury to Ben Ofemu in the first half.
Just want you to watch towards the center line. There's a lot of recognition here from Manuel Arteaga to see the space in behind Patrick Hogan. Just pulls him down. Clear foul, denial of a transitional movement. And another yellow card for an Indy 11 player.
And it's behind the halfway line. There's also support coming, so I don't think anyone's talking about denial of obvious goal-scoring opportunity, right? But that's why you say that transition moment, that tactical foul off the ball. Double change here. We'll see Nick Moon and Joey Skinner in for the Rowdies, their first 2 subs tonight. Driving forward here for the Rowdies. That takes a deflection, gets in! They've turned the whole thing around. It's Nick Moon, who's just come into the game with a moonshot. Is this the turning point for this moribund Rowdies season? 2-1 Tampa Bay.
Very similar to the initial goal for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. It comes from the wide part of the field, and this is all about Nick Moon just sticking with this play and just wanting to cause some issues. You pull the trigger, you put it on target, you give yourself a chance, and you just cause some chaos right in front of Undersold. Yes, it takes a wicked deflection as Hogan goes down to his feet, but you create your own luck, especially through your work rate for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They're in the lead here in the second half.
Moon, who spent 2 years, his first 2 years in the championship at Indy 11, described to me once as the pristine example of a League One extreme profile. He's fast, he's strong, he's aggressive, and his first touch is golden. The Rowdies, from a goal down right before halftime, the perfect shot from Foster, are 2-1 ahead. For Indy, this is the end of their bench. They made 2 separate subs in the first half due to injury. And they're going to burn their final window right now.
Now leaving the game, number 11, Blake Bodley.
Bodley
number 26,
had just come out, scored in the 60th minute, replaced by Moon, scores in the 70th. Van Kayazeel got replaced by Skinner. You saw Hayden White come in for Indy. Placed Rendon. Bernays came out. Cam Lindley in off the bench. An opening quickly closed behind Arteaga. So this is the midfield of choice. You could actually argue it's one midfielder too many. You've got Lindley, Murphy, Blake, and Quinn all in together. Casillas gliding. Lost his footing apparently. Arms extended. He and Hayden White became entangled.
Good recovery run from White just to stay with Casillas and not make a movement towards the ball. Just put a body on your opposition. Fantastic decision from the sub coming in. You mentioned the spot of Cam Lindley, Aiden Quinn, Blake Murphy. Now you have all ball players essentially for Indy 11. So expect them to be really progressive and methodical how they play in between the lines. Because you do have a lot of talent that can beat you through combination play, especially with Amo coming in. He's going to be that reference point to play off of with his big body and expect movement off of him.
And he replaces Chiza, and Guillen is everyone in this kind of humidity. Guillen's paid a price and a half in this game. Out of Florida Gulf Coast. Multiple all-championship selection. It is Arteaga coming off. This sub was already handed over to the official. Ali Bassett comes on for him, and Arteaga just got a yellow card for time wasting as he walked off. All the while his teammate is still splayed out 25 yards off the end line.
Frustrating shift for Manuel Arteaga. Obviously misses the pen, or not really able to make his impact felt and find the game. Bassett is a player that the Tampa Bay Rowdies have really high hopes for and expectations. A player that's going to play, whether it is centrally, but can also pop onto the right-hand side. He's going to play as a dual 10 next to Alvarez underneath Casillas. It's a big challenge for the offseason signing just to get in a rhythm and keep the ball moving.
You know something, Arteaga, as this stripped and carried forward by Lindley with speed, offers left, Foster, good stab by Castellanos. Foster wiggles back around. Lindley, speared away. Settled, hit on the half volley. Smashed out. I want to go back. Think about the goal from Moon. The ball deflects past the goalkeeper. If it hadn't deflected, it was Arteaga on the doorstep. The way he celebrates that moment, even though just 12, 15 minutes earlier, the devastation of missing that penalty, you know how much pressure there is on the club. For everyone to pick him up and then for him to have that reaction, I think says a lot about where the Rowdies are right now, because there are a lot of teams on 8 points at 13 games where you go, maybe it's time to pack it up. I don't know how much further south you go than this, but all the while, Amo almost packed the Rowdies' bags himself. And he's pressing right off the bat again.
Good opportunistic nature for Amo there. Almost gets probably the easiest goal of his career. That does end up in the back of the net. But just going back to the point you made about Arteaga, talks about the culture that Steve Coleman's able to quickly, or step by step, trying to create here again, playing for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and you have to do it collectively. every single one of these players need to celebrate the goal like it's the last goal of the season, like it means something, and it does mean something for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who have been unable to really score goals. Now only 15 on the season in 2025. But that just tells you a world of messages for Manuel Arteaga just to celebrate the goal with Nick Moon that ultimately he had nothing to do with.
If Tampa Bay wins, they're out of the basement and only 4 points behind Rhode Island in 8th, and only 3 points behind Indy 11 in 9th. It can change really fast, and yet it's only a 30-game season as opposed to the 34 we've become familiar with because of the 4 group stage games in the Jägermeister Cup. So when they say it gets late early, this year it gets even later, even earlier. This borderline have to have it. Out to Blake. Can Indy find their equalizer? Ripped out of play into the grandstand.
Does seem like Blake has shifted out to this right-hand side. Aiden Quinn would actually be the wing back for Indy 11 on the left-hand side. So now you have Murphy and Lindley dictating tempo centrally into Foster, and Amo will be the 2 focal points to play into.
Corner. Smashed out again. Hill line again. Amo provides a pretty good threat in there at 6'2". Blake delivers again. Macias away. There is Amo. Dummy through. That's a throw. Schedule comes out in January. This is a game everyone had circled because these were supposed to be contenders. Get to the end of June, they're trying to fight above the line. Desperation with this much talent usually yields pretty decent games. It has been. Lofted into the area, Hogan flicks backward, across the face of goal, sneaks through, and Foster will check that ball in for a night at the Hilton.
But it starts with the lack of effort and lack of presence at that far post. As this ball trickles across the goal mouth, you need someone to just give that extra effort. Because if you do, you tie this game 1-1. Aiden Quinn does a fantastic job at just keeping this alive. Malik Foster makes a wrong decision in the end. You need just to slash this back across the top of the 6-yard box into the traffic. Really difficult angle. It just gets out of the stadium.
Just?
Giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. By the way, just blown away at the Indy 11 fans that made the track down from the Brickyard Battalion. I know the club president, Mike Slocum, is in the front row. Jason Wyrick wearing the checkered Indy kit. This ball in for Amo. That one will join the last one, although it stayed in. But this is not a short track on a midweek game. Credit where credit's due. Rivalry that dates back into the NASL. Certainly continued in their championship days. Indy back-to-back playoff appearances, 4 in their championship history. Joined the league in 2018. It's the 9th year for the Rowdies in the USL. Their 16th in the modern era, 32nd year of play, 50th year since introduction to the soccer lexicon in the U.S. Whatever Wyke was arguing a moment ago, he's apparently gotten his pound of flesh. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Offside. Reminder, the USL Championship and League One on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches, expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and on ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings.
Almost done a good job since coming onto this field, just being a big body that Indy 11 can play into.
Contact inside the penalty area. Referee doesn't agree with Amo, and he's heard enough. There is no VAR in the championship, so we get to look at it again. The referee does not.
Indy yellow card issued in the 82nd minute to number 6, Cam Lindley.
Yellow actually goes to Cam Lindley. Joins Hogan, Foster on bookings. Rendon and Chiza have already escaped for the night on caution as well. Run out. Rowdies will start to take their time. Back here on ESPN2 on July the 11th. Monterey Bay having such an impressive year. Host Orange County won a full month of stunningly resurgent Miami team. Orange County Phoenix, a good rivalry as well. Into the final third, Tampa Bay. Pitch forked ahead. Tried to ladle that off. Contact into Blake. Free kick for Indy.
Just to the directness of Tampa Bay Rowdies causing all sorts of issues for Indy 11. The ability to run by not one, but two and multiple players. So if you are Steve Coleman and the Tampa Bay Rowdies, if you're trying to see out this game, play direct, continue to be vertical and stretch out this back line of Indy 11, because they've shown they're having a really difficult time just dealing with it.
Here's O'Brien.
Just right side of your screen, only one player to play into for Indy 11. You're down a goal with 7+ remaining. You need to throw and commit more numbers into a dangerous area.
It's White playing inward. Foster clips that up. Header into a dangerous position. And now Tampa Bay spots a chance to run out. Pushed ahead to Alvarez. Pasillas occupying the defenders. Pasillas turns.
Great decision. Great decision from Pasillas to pick up his head. No one in a white jersey arriving with him. So let me just circulate the ball yet again and drain some clock. You just need to play a bit quicker if you are Indy 11. The tempo needs to be higher to try to claw yourself back into this game.
Now the Rowdies will try and take some air out of the apps. Taken on by Cam Lindley, Indiana native. Off the bench here tonight, has only started 3 games this year, his 4th year at his hometown club. Over to Blake. Lindley. Foster works the give and go off of Lindley. Foster inside. Blake. It was always going to be difficult from that angle, and with that defender in front of him, it's easy work for Bondre.
We've seen the best of Indy 11 when Blake is more aggressive, higher up the field, and that is when he is at his best operating in. The ability to create his own space and has the composure to open in the end.
Double change for the Rowdies, but how about we tell you about Blake Bodley's 60th minute critical goal, turn the game. He stands as tonight's MVP of the match, presented by Prinks Tires.
That's the work rate to outrun that whole midfield line, but also the composure to simply pick out his space to that far post. Gets the cutback going for the Tampa Bay Rowdies and was a big part of what they've done in this match.
And Bodley looked utterly exhausted making those final runs before he came off. Henry Mastali, 9th appearance, 8th off the bench.
Rowdy substitutions in the 87th minute.
And there's Forrest Lasso back in.
Number 47, Luis Alvarez. Now entering the game.
One of the best defenders in league history, Forrest Lasso. You know, he actually, Forrest Lasso, put out a letter on X the end of May. 372 days sober, he wrote. 372 days of choosing clarity, love, and purpose. If it's important to Lasso, certainly important to us. All the best, my man. One of the all-time greats in this league, Forrest Lasso. A reset, a resurrection, he called it.
Congratulations to Forrest Lasso. Takes a lot of bravery and courage to put out a statement like that, but also to back it up on the field as well. He's been top class in what he's meant to USL Championship, not only on the field, but off the field. The standard, the professionalism, and the quality have come through for Forrest Lasso.
Yeah. Lasso always wears the same wristband, FFF, Faith Family Football. A man mountain, he's been called. 6'5" from Raleigh, North Carolina, off the bench for the 2nd time this year. Tore his ACL last season and has worked himself back into the team.
And he's a sub for Steve Coleman that's just trying to see this game out, electing to go into 4 in the back now. All very capable and physically dominant center backs on the field for the Rowdies.
Ball comes over here to Lindley. Driven forward by White. It's still on here for Indy. We're into the 89th minute now. That took a heavy ricochet. That gets out for a corner right in front of the Rowdies support.
And that is exactly why you bring Lasso in for moments like this, expecting Indy 11 to continue to put balls into dangerous areas, especially with the quality service from Blake.
Blake offering. Header flicks to the backside. White will track it down. Chance to serve again, perhaps for Foster. Now it's Quinn. Quaffs, crosses. Came a hacky sack, lands back on the touchline again. White. Service across. Hogan went diving for it. And the transition moment could be on here for the Rowdies. It's broken up by Lindley. 90th minute. The Rowdies are on the verge of a key win to their season. And Indy scored the opener right before halftime. Have to feel like it's Groundhog's Day at Al Lang again. We've got a long way to go, one would imagine. Ball chipped in, sent toward frame. Blake saw that deflect away and out for a corner. And we're gonna have a lot of stoppage time presented by Tiger Balm. 6 added minutes.
Indy 11 looked like a completely different team when Blake plays underneath both strikers.
Cutting, firing.
Attention fans.
Slips out to the opposite side. Amo.
The center referee has added a minimum of 6 minutes of extra
Put up
time
by
in the second
Murphy. A swipe from Bondre. And the pressure continues to mount from Indy.
No nonsense goalkeeping here from Bondre, just to come off of his line, really decisive to push it away and not give a second bite at the apple to Indy 11, but expect continuous pressure for the visiting side here.
Curled high, settled, Quinn! It's a letdown in the end, and he knows that.
That's the quality to certainly put this on target with that wand of a left peg here from Aiden Quinn. But if you're Murphy, you have to scream at the top of your lungs just to have this ball laid into your path because you're already facing the attacking goal.
This was as close to a must-win as you can get 14 games into a 30-game season. The Rowdies do not play another regular season game until they go to San Antonio on July the 12th. And they could have been staring at a 7-point hole leaving tonight, and maybe worse. Ball popped away by Bondre, who came off the line. That clearance still left a lot of work to be done. That is a corner off of Guillen.
Lawrence Wyke and Guillen giving Jim Bashir, a referee, an earful, saying there was a little bit of extra here from Amo. And Amo has been a positive impact for Indy 11, just causing some issues, a handful, hunting down every loose ball, winning his individual duels.
Blake puts it up again. Run down by Lindley. Sends it back. Chipped away by Pasillas. Loops into Foster. Cleared by Lasso out to the halfway line. Woobens Pasillas spots the run over his shoulder. It's Ali Bassett. Bassett cuts it across. There it is. The insurance. Tampa Bay. The win they need. Lawrence Wyke, the finisher.
Transitional football at its finest. It starts with a really nice work in terms of the box defending from the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and this is all about decision making. First from Pasillas, just to slow it down and allow Bassett to come around the corner. Takes his first and his second touch and just stands up his individual marker, which allows Lawrence Wyke the secondary action at that far post, which is no presence of all 3 points here.
They managed 3 goals against Miami FC in the Cup competition, lost in penalties back in April. This is their first 3-goal regular season performance of the year. That is a yellow card. Imagine for inhibiting the restart for Pasillas. Not that he, I think, really cares right now, although that is his 5th yellow of the year. What a night for the Rowdies. Had to have it, especially on home ground. 2-9-2 coming in.
Rowdies yellow card issued in second half.
Pasillas steered off the ball. If you're Indy, it'd be really easy as a fan to look and go, we lost to the team bottom of the table. And that is supremely reductive, if still accurate. This was a big 6-pointer that lets Tampa Bay right off the mat.
With our conversation with Steve Coleman, you start to just get the sense that the Tampa Bay Rowdies are one step at a time turning the corner, starting to figure out who they want to be on and off the ball. They've been more mature on the ball, the ability to understand when to go quick, when to retain possession. And you talk about the mental side of the game, Mike. They went down in this game against a fantastic goal from this man, Malik Foster.
Foster blazing a trail. And I have to think that was someone in that room taking some paint off the walls at halftime, because Tampa Bay came out a renewed team. It's a matter of seconds now. Indy trying to gain one back. So run all the way through to Bondre, and that could be that. That is that. It is the inflection point of the season for Tampa Bay. A necessary 3 points. And from the bottom of the table, the Rowdies continue their long-term dominance over Indy 11. 60th minute from Bodley, Moon in the 69th, and the Chelsea dagger from Lawrence White in stoppage time. Malik Foster, it seemed like it was going to happen to the Rowdies again. But Indy allows this Tampa Bay side off the mat in their 50th anniversary season. The missed penalty from their lead man, but 3 unanswered to take all 3 points. For Ricky Lopez, Espen, our entire team in St. Pete, Mike Watts saying good night. Still on here for Indy. Quinn slides down to help retain. Came through Blake. Driving, firing! Oh, Malik Foster! That is a screamer for Indy 11. Has turned the game totally on its head. Unreal goal from Malik Foster. Still on here for Indy. Quinn slides down to help retain. Came through Blake. Driving, firing! Oh! Malik Foster! That is a screamer for Indy 11! Has turned the game totally on its head! Unreal goal from Malik Foster. Wow. The Brickyard Battalion loves it. Indy's gone on the road and stunned the Rowdies in first half stoppage.
Over the last 5 minutes, we start to see Indy 11 getting in a little bit of a rhythm, but it starts with the mentality to get numbers forward. And notice the way that he just shifts this ball essentially to his left foot. Lewis Hilton really slow to step out, and the tech.
Still on here for Indy. Quinn slides down to help retain. Came through Blake. Driving, firing! Oh! Malik Foster! That is a screamer for Indy 11! Has turned the game totally on its head! Unreal goal from Malik Foster. Wow. The Brickyard Battalion loves it. Indy's gone on the road and stunned the Rowdies in first half stoppage.
Over the last 5 minutes, we start to see Indy 11 getting in a little bit of a rhythm, but it starts with the mentality to get numbers forward. And notice the way that he just shifts this ball essentially to his left foot. Lewis Hilton really slow to step out, and the tech.
Still on here for Indy. Quinn slides down to help retain. Came through Blake. Driving, firing! Oh! Malik Foster! That is a screamer for Indy 11! Has turned the game totally on its head! Unreal goal from Malik Foster. Wow. The Brickyard Battalion loves it. Indy's gone on the road and stunned the Rowdies in first half stoppage.
Over the last 5 minutes, we start to see Indy 11 getting in a little bit of a rhythm, but it starts with the mentality to get numbers forward. And notice the way that he just shifts this ball essentially to his left foot. Lewis Hilton really slow to step out, and the tech.
Indy looking for just their 4th win against the Rowdies. This their 20th meeting, and the first since 2018. Driving Bodily, cuts over Arteaga, back over Bodily! His first of the season comes in a vital moment for Tampa Bay. And it is just the response the Rowdies were looking for. It's 1-1.
Deserving here from Blake Bodily as he provides a width here. I just want you to watch his movement when he plays this ball into Pasillas. Knows exactly what he wants, and he wants it back. Outruns not 1, not 2, but 3 Indy 11 midfielders just to create this attacking unit. Fortunate bounce as McRobb comes across, but you still have a lot left to do for Bodily. Composed to open up his hips and simply just slot it into that far post.
Indy looking for just their 4th win against the Rowdies. This their 20th meeting, and the first since 2018. Driving Bodily, cuts over Arteaga, back over Bodily! His first of the season comes in a vital moment for Tampa Bay. And it is just the response the Rowdies were looking for. It's 1-1.
Deserving here from Blake Bodily As he provides a width here, I just want you to watch his movement when he plays this ball into Pasillas. Knows exactly what he wants, and he wants it back. Outruns not one, not two, but three Indy 11 midfielders just to create this attacking unit. Fortunate bounce as McRob comes across, but you still have a lot left to do for Bodily. Composed to open up his hips and simply just slot it into that far post.
Indy looking for just their 4th win against the Rowdies. This their 20th meeting, and the first since 2018. Driving Bodily, cuts over Arteaga, back over Bodily! His first of the season comes in a vital moment for Tampa Bay. And it is just the response the Rowdies were looking for. It's 1-1.
Deserving here from Blake Bodily. As he provides a width here, I just want you to watch his movement when he plays this ball into Pasillas. Knows exactly what he wants, and he wants it back. Outruns not one, not two, but three Indy 11 midfielders just to create this attacking unit. Fortunate bounce as McRob comes across,